If it is not a life-threatening emergency, they are asking people to call the non-emergency line to free the emergency lines for emergencies as they are waiting to see whether they have to respond to any reports of injuries or as they are assessing the situation. So again, if you do find yourself in an emergency situation, of course, call the emergency line. But if it is not an emergency, law enforcement agencies are asking you to call the non-emergency line. Mel.
All right, Marie, and we are just getting some information here from San Diego State. An alert from the university said that there was no damage or injuries that have been reported on the campus at this time. Of course, the university is continuing to assess that. Classes at SDSU and also the Imperial Valley campus, they remain open. But like Marie mentioned, if there is an emergency, of course, call 911. If there is not, you might want to hold off on that because, of course, our emergency responders are busy during this time. It looks fairly calm, right? As you take a live look here at downtown Julian, we see a mix of the sun and the clouds at 10:46 right now. But this is near where the epicenter was. That 5.2 earthquake felt across the county here, also up in LA and through Temecula. I know, speaking with my relatives here in the county, they thought at some point someone was trying to get in the home because it was shaking so much. This one in particular was really loud. Of course, we are on air for you. If you want to share your experiences, please feel free to shoot me an email. We're going to be on air just bringing you live updates as far as the aftermath of this earthquake. We are getting some reports of some minor damage reported at some local businesses. We are working to get that video to bring that to you here on air. All right, we are working on getting some of our emergency responders on the phone with us to give you an update on where they stand right now. And I think it's also important for our viewers to understand the protocol as well with what our emergency responders do, because when situations like this happen, you do have to know they have a plan in place, they are prepared, and they do go through the steps just to make sure that everything is safe. Live look at Julian right now. I believe we are working to get CAL FIRE on the phone. Do we have CAL FIRE on the phone just yet? Okay. All right, we do have CAL FIRE on the phone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And if you can go ahead and just explain, first of all, basically, what does your agency do at this time?
Yeah, we have a set policy and procedure in place for earthquakes that reach a certain magnitude. So currently our firefighters are assessing our facilities for damage. We're pulling our fire apparatus out of the bay, so we make sure that that the fire engine and our crew are safe. And then our firefighters are going to go around the local area and do a windshield survey to make sure there's no damage or any hazards that need to be taken care of.
You got it. And fortunately, we do not experience earthquakes here every day, but they are often enough that, of course, we need to be prepared. How often do you practice or go through something like this just to make sure your agency is ready for the real thing?
Yeah, we go through routine training every so often just to make sure that we are ready for the next disaster, such as earthquakes. So it's not something we train on regularly, but it is something that we do have in policy. So when we do get that jolt, that we're able to look at our policies and procedures and go down that checklist.
And can you just from a personal perspective explain kind of where you were when this was happening and how it felt? And I'm sorry, I didn't remember what location you were when this earthquake happened.
Yeah, I was actually in the Cuyamaca area. So I was close to the epicenter. We were given a presentation at one of the school camps. And so we did feel the jolt. It was lasted quite a long time. I'm not sure exactly how long it was, just because that time is kind of skewed there. But we were up in that area, and it was really, really great to see that the school had their policies and procedures set in place. The staff jumped into action. Though there were no students there, everybody was accounted for, and it was a safe operation.
All right, and I know that you guys prepare for things like this, and it's good to see that the plans are in place and that they were enacted safely. Mike Cornett with CAL FIRE. Can you just explain? I know you mentioned this a little earlier. Right now, we're looking at some video here. This is from Mountain Spirit Liquor, just some minor damage. If you can reiterate, Mike, what you're going to be doing the next several hours, even the next few days.
Yeah, we're going to be, our crews right now are out doing their windshield survey. So I'm sure out in the Julian area where I am right now, our crews are going to be visiting the different businesses and making sure that there's no hazards and trying to keep our public safe. And over the next couple of days, we're going to make sure that we keep vigilant and be ready for the next jolt if there are any aftershocks.
Yeah, well, let's hope there's not another large jolt, but I know CAL FIRE and our other emergency crews are all prepared just in case that does happen. All right, Mike Cornett with CAL FIRE, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And for our viewers right now, we're just getting some new video here. Again, this is Mountain Spirit Liquor, and there was some minor damage done, and you can see some of the bottles there on the floor, and hopefully that's the extent of it. But again, it's still early on. I know some businesses are just checking just to make sure all their water and gas lines and everything like that is in place. But we do see some inventory here at this liquor store that did spill to the ground. Of course, as we get new video, we will continue to share with you throughout this morning. We do have Marie Coronel standing by with new information that she is monitoring as well. Marie.
Mel, as you were talking about you looking at the utilities, the gas lines, I pulled up the SDG&E website and the outage center, and they are reporting an outage in the Julian Santa Isabel area. This was reported around 10:18, which of course was after the earthquake. At this point, we know there are 490 customers that are out of power. Now, it does have an estimated restoration at 1:30 this afternoon, but as far as the cause, it's saying the cause of the outage is unknown and is still under investigation. But of course, this happened after that earthquake was reported. We, of course, will continue to monitor SDG&E's outage website to see if any other residents will be impacted. Mel.
Marie reporting for us in the live center. It is almost 11 o'clock, and many of you, thank you for those who have been communicating with me through social media and my email as well. And many of you have been sending us videos. We're working to get that on air for you. We do have one video of just the shaking in Escondido, and you can hear just how loud it was. Let's go ahead and take that. Yeah, this one was a pretty loud one, and so many people have cameras inside of their homes. So a lot of you capturing the noise and some of the shaking. Again, this one was in Escondido. And the thing with this earthquake is that it was felt here not only throughout San Diego County, but also I have friends up in LA who are texting me as well, seeing if we're all okay. Thank you again to everyone who has been checking in. We are doing fine here. It was definitely a little bit of a shock, of course. It happened in the middle of the day. A lot of you, or many of you, are either watching us from home or from school. And so it happened right in the middle of the day, kind of interrupting your plans. It was quite loud, as we have heard from several people. Again, the governor has issued a statement on the earthquake, and Governor Newsom has been briefed. The state is coordinating with local authorities to assess any damage and if emergency response is needed. You heard Mike with CAL FIRE earlier just talk a little bit about the protocol when it comes to earthquakes. Anytime there is an earthquake, what the fire stations typically will do just to make sure everything is safe is that they'll take the fire apparatus out of the buildings so that they can properly assess, just to make sure everything is okay, because we need to make sure that our emergency responders are safe before they can help others. We are getting some new video in. I believe this is from El Cajon. This is from Jerry, and just a lot of the cameras. I think we can get the picture here. This one really had a good shape to it. Again, this one is from El Cajon, where you can hear it, and you can also see the camera shaking. We did show you some minor damage from a business, a liquor store that unfortunately had some of its inventory spill. This is from Mountain Spirit Liquor. So thank you to Dylan for sending us this video. And I really do hope everything else is safe beyond the video that we are seeing here. We're getting a lot of alerts in from our school districts. I want to thank all of course, the teachers for keeping all of the kids safe, because I know some kids are out on spring break, like Marie mentioned, but I know many others are currently in school. And this happened at peak school time. So a little after 10 o'clock. I'm sure some of the younger kids were a little nervous, but our teachers, of course, keeping them safe. I did get an alert from my teachers who had mentioned that they did the drills and all the kids did okay. Again, 5.2 earthquake felt across San Diego County. You can see here from our USGS map that following that earthquake, there were several aftershocks. 5.2, the biggest one here. And then I'm looking at the current map. It looks like one of the more recent smaller aftershocks was a 2.5. That's 4 kilometers south of Julian. And one of the bigger ones was epicentered about 7 kilometers southeast of Borrego Springs. But there have been several, of course, wouldn't be surprised as this continues here throughout the day. We are also updating all of our information because, again, a lot of information is coming in as some folks begin to check out their businesses, assess if they have any damage. We are updating all of that on our website, 10news.com. This earthquake, again, struck a little after 10 o'clock. And thank you to all of our viewers for sending information in and sending in some of your videos as well. This is a live look here at Julian. A lot of people outside right now. And again, it's been about almost an hour. We're seeing one of the fire apparatus there going through downtown. That's CAL FIRE. We just got off the phone with CAL FIRE, Mike Cornett, who explained basically what they do after an earthquake happens. After an earthquake this large happens, again, they go ahead and go through their checklist just to make sure all of their crews and their equipment are safe. And then again, if you have an emergency, of course, don't hesitate to call 911. But of course, they are aware of the earthquake, and they will be assessing the nearby neighborhoods and whatnot just to make sure everything is okay. Someone sent me an email as well, saying that some of their animals have also reacted to the earthquake, and that is typical. Of course, I had to check on my dog to make sure my dog was okay, and thanks to my mother-in-law who is also watching the house, dog and family are okay at our home. And this is here from up in Escondido. Fortunately, no one was home at this hour, but we're seeing the shaking and we're definitely hearing it as well. Minor damage reported in some businesses. We are getting that information here. This is in Escondido, but I am getting some folks out of county who are checking in. And checking in if I am fine, guys, so don't worry about that. But thank you for checking in. But again, this was felt all the way up in Orange County, up in LA, and even through Temecula as well. I'm checking in on my email here, and it looks like, we're getting more people who have said they felt it even throughout out of county. And I'm glad that the folks emailing me are safe. Again, a 5.2 earthquake felt across the county, epicentered near Julian. You see the aftershocks there, anywhere between a 2.5 to a 3.5, one of the bigger ones here, a 3.5 centered about 7 kilometers outside of Borrego Springs. As we hit close to 11 o'clock, we are going to continue our coverage of the large earthquake felt here in San Diego County. We'll be bringing you all angles and also have more live coverage from our 10 News team. We are going to reset here and bring you more news at the top of the hour.
ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
And thank you so much for staying with me. I'm Melissa Masiha, bringing you live coverage here of the earthquake that struck just within the past hour in San Diego County. It was a magnitude 5.2, and we are getting a lot of information, a lot of video coming in right now. We do want to go to our Marie Coronel, who is joining us here with some information that she is monitoring online. Marie.
Yes, Mel, we've been monitoring social media, as that is how many of the agencies are getting the word out. Here, Governor Newsom's press page saying that Governor Newsom has been briefed about the earthquake here in San Diego County. It's also saying that the state is coordinating with local authorities to assess any damage and if emergency response is needed. We've also been keeping a close eye on SDG&E's outage map website to see what the impacts could be from this earthquake. Here on the outage map, we are seeing there is an outage in Julian in the Santa Isabel area. There are about 490 customers who are out of power. This started just after 10 o'clock, which is also after the earthquake. It is saying that the cause of the outage is still unknown, but they are estimating that the services will be restored by 1:30 this afternoon. When you do look on social media, a lot of people are saying that this was the largest earthquake they have felt since living here in San Diego. We've also been keeping an eye on the different school districts, the different agencies. A lot of the law enforcement agencies are saying, and they're asking people to keep the emergency lines clear so that if someone does have a true emergency, they can get through. If it is a non-emergency issue, they are asking that people call the non-emergency line. We, of course, will continue to monitor what we're seeing on social media. We also have crews that are out there trying to gather the information for themselves out there in the neighborhoods. And as soon as we get that information from them, we will definitely bring it to you, Mel.
All right, Marie, thank you so much. Right now, you are taking a look at some video sent to us by Dylan. This is Mountain Spirit Liquor. This is in Julian. And we're seeing some of the inventory that fell off of the shelves. Hopefully, the damage is just contained to this. I know at this point, a lot of people still have to take a closer look at their buildings, make sure all of their water and their gas lines are all intact. But again, this was near Julian and our mountain areas. This is near where the epicenter was, a few miles outside of that. So hopefully, Dylan, hopefully your business is okay beyond that. We are getting some other video here. I believe we have video from El Cajon that Jerry sent us. Actually, this is Escondido. All right, this is Escondido here, and you can just hear the earthquake. And I think that's what caught a lot of people, because this one was pretty loud. I mean, I've experienced numerous earthquakes here throughout my lifetime in San Diego County, and this was one of the larger ones that I do remember in recent years. Again, this is up in the North County. We also got some video in El Cajon. This is in the East County, and this just shows some of the shaking that we all felt. And just how loud it was. So hopefully, Jerry, thank you for sending us this video. Hopefully everything is fine at your home. If you do have any video or if you have any comments, feel free to send them to me as I continue to bring you coverage here throughout 10 News Midday. Marie Coronel also tracking a lot here online. Let's go ahead and check back in with her. Marie.
All right, Mel, so again, at this point, there is only one reported outage on the SDG&E outage map. But as we are monitoring social media, a lot of the different agencies say at this point they are assessing for any damage. Again, as we mentioned, governor's office saying they are coordinating with the local authorities to see if there are any damages or if there are any injuries. We have reached out to the different school districts. I had reached out to the Sweetwater Unified School District as they are back in session. Remember, a lot of schools went back to school. We have schools in the Diocese of San Diego. They are on spring break. So a lot of calls are being made at this point as we are trying to make sure everyone is okay and to see if there are any reports of any damages. But again, to reiterate from the local law enforcement agencies, only call 911 if it is an emergency. If it is not an emergency, please call their non-emergency lines. Mel.
We do have Olivia Gonzalez Bridge. She is monitoring our traffic on this midday. Olivia.
Good morning, Mel. Yes, we are tracking just north of Julian. We have two hazards. One is on the California 76 southbound between Public Road and CRS 7 Grande Road. There is a roadblock due to debris. We don't know if this is because of that earthquake, but we are trying to get more information on that hazard. Then over by Valley Center on another road, another lane is blocked due to a landslide on the Valley Center Road northbound at Woods Valley Road. So these are two hazards that have been reported by the CHP. We're trying to get more information of that. This is like not too far from the epicenter of the 5.2 earthquake that we felt earlier about an hour ago. We're trying to get more information on that. I'm also tracking what the surf, what the waves look like. People are concerned about tsunami threats. We are a coastal region. I had friends living in PB that were texting me, should I be driving inland? And we've spoken with people over the phone that, you know, they say that there is not a threat right now. And that is what I'm tracking as well with the surf outlook right now. But Mel, we'll get back to you, try to get more information on those two hazards on the road.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we do have UC San Diego professor Alessandro Palermo on the phone joining us right now. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on 10 News Midday. You know, let's talk a little bit about bridge safety when it comes to events like this. What are some of the things that need to be monitored?
These events, we had a 5.2. These are, I would say, they are moderate earthquakes. So we're talking about a modified Mercalli intensity level 6, which means there is not expected severe damage. But in important structures like bridges, obviously there is always need to check, especially the bridge piers, the columns, let's say the substructure that sustain, the roads, the deck, because these are the key elements which are taking the energy of the earthquake.
And can you tell me, especially here in Southern California, how are these types of structures, and we're taking a live look here at the Coronado Bridge, but when it comes to bridges in general here in Southern California, how are they meant to withstand or survive these types of earthquakes, this type of activity?
Yeah, the bridges are designed according, to the Caltrans design manual, and they are pretty well designed with a very conservative approach. The damage on the bridges will depend on the importance of the road. So the bridges on the State Highway 5, even in a far larger event, they will probably suffer minor damage. But there are other bridges which are less important, will suffer more damage, and therefore there could be disruption in the road. But generally, all the bridges are designed to maintain, obviously, with the priority life safety. And in a scenario like this, in this earthquake is more like a serviceability limitation, means that you expect that this is you have operational level earthquake. So it's very low intensity. So the structure shouldn't have any damage. So if there is damage in some structures, means that probably the structures have some vulnerabilities.
All right. And, I mean, obviously this happened on a Monday. Can you tell me some of the things that maybe they'll be doing long term just to make sure that we are prepared for the next time something like this happens? Because we know living here in Southern California, this is definitely, it's not our first earthquake, definitely not going to be the last one.
Yeah, I think, I always think like as a citizen, I just moved to San Diego 2 years ago, but I lived in New Zealand. I went through 4 earthquakes. and I learned that you need to be prepared, like have water, all have the essentials because, we are a very active area, right, and an active zone, so you need to be prepared. And you also have to be extremely careful. Think about that whenever there will be an earthquake, strong severity, may have disruption. Some roads will be closed, so you have to think about, having all the essentials with you because there may be challenges. And we are very well prepared, I would say. Especially if you think about the bridges are designed extremely well by Caltrans, but we don't know what nature is bringing to us. So we always have to be very conservative and make sure that we have all the basic needs for us in case that we have disruption and we can't reach back our home.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for joining us here on 10 News Midday. We appreciate your time. Right now, we do want to go to ABC 10 News reporter Perla Shaheen, who is joining us live there. I believe, Perla, you are near downtown.
Hi, Melissa. Yeah, we're at B and Union downtown, where we just heard hundreds of construction workers had to stall their work on this luxury apartment complex behind me. I'll take a step aside so you can see some of them walking off. We are told by HMT Electric, it's one of the construction companies here, that hundreds of workers had to stall their construction when that earthquake hit. They are now taking a second to get a head count of everyone in the building. They told me this is a normal protocol when a natural disaster happens to make sure that everyone is okay. This is a 36-story high-rise coming into downtown. It's a luxury apartment complex. A representative tells me that hundreds of people were in there working on it at the same time, but of course, they need to be careful in these types of situations. There's a lot of loose debris, lumber, different materials that they're using to put together this building. So they want to make sure everyone's okay in the midst of this process. So far, they told me that it sounds like people are doing okay. They haven't been able to check on everyone just yet. They're still trying to get all of these men out of the building. But so far for now at Union and B, it seems like everything is under control, but still waiting to get an official update from one of the representatives here at HMT Electric.
Out there in downtown, what's the mood like? Has anyone come up to talk to you? Because it was quite a jolt.
Talking to them, I asked, is this protocol? And obviously we have some earthquakes in California, but the representative told me it was pretty shocking to experience such an extreme jolt in downtown San Diego. They are obviously working on a pretty high-rise building down here. It's a luxury apartment complex. So the potential for some serious damages was pretty high, but thankfully they're all telling me that things are okay. And it sounds like they're doing all right. They just followed protocol as was, and there are about like 20 companies here working on this building. So they have a lot of people to check in on right now.
All right, Perla, hopefully everyone out there is safe. I can't imagine being that high up in a building when an earthquake like this strikes. All right, it's 11:13 right now. Maybe Perla will go ahead and check back in with you a little bit later. All right, we do have some new video here from El Cajon. Thank you to Leticia for sending me this video. And this just kind of shows basically how strong this particular earthquake was, and so much so that it was able to knock the camera off to its side. Leticia, hopefully you didn't have any damage there to your home. You are in the East County. Again, thank you for sending me this video here from El Cajon. Hopefully everyone there is okay, and hopefully your property is okay as well. We do have Dr. Pat Abbott, who is going to be joining us here by phone at 11:14 on this midday, on this Monday. Dr. Abbott, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, Dr. Abbott, you know it all. You are the go-to guy. For people trying to put this in perspective, can you give us a little bit more about this quake, this 5.2?
Well, this is an earthquake on a fault that has a long history of doing big earthquakes and even larger ones than this. So in the same sense that we say we cannot predict earthquakes, we had no idea whatsoever this was going to happen today. On the other hand, once it has happened, we say, well, this is a totally expected event. It's not even as large of an earthquake as one might expect on this fault. This is a fault that could easily do a magnitude 7. And if we look back 15 years to the Easter earthquake at that time, that was not on this named fault, but it was on this exact same trend. It was a 7.2 magnitude. So what we have here is, I think, what I'd call if I may, a typical day in San Diego, where you get up in the morning thinking, will there be an earthquake today? And there was. Didn't know it was coming today, but hopefully everybody's mind knows that when the earth begins shaking, what's the first thing you think about? What can fall on me? What can be thrown at me and hurt me? How do I protect myself? And of course, what we commonly sell or try to push is the drop, cover, and hold on. So you get underneath that desk, get underneath that heavy table, get under some place where if things do fall, they won't hurt you. And so here was one of those kinds of events, an event of, in a way, this is, I don't really mind an earthquake like this as long as nobody really got hurt and there was no big damages, because it's a good reminder of bigger things that will be coming at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that Easter earthquake. I cannot believe that was 15 years ago, because I remember that one. That one felt a little bit more like a rolling earthquake. Ooh, 15 years ago. So quite a difference. And what have we learned from then to now?
Well, what we have learned is basically not just from our earthquakes, but other earthquakes that occur around the world. When New Zealand was hit hard by earthquakes, when Japan was hit here in 2011, when any place where buildings fail or serious damage occurs, people from around the world go there to look and see why did this fail? Where was the weak point here? Why did this building, why did that bridge come down? And then you try to improve the building codes to say, okay, we'll connect this horizontal element, this floor of this building to the vertical wall. We'll do a better job of tying it together so it can't come apart. It's that kind of a thing. Try to see where mistakes occurred, or not mistakes, but damage, death. Where did the bad things happen during an earthquake? Look at it, try to understand what happened, and then change the building code so we fix it, so it won't happen again, where people getting hurt from that same kind of structure.
And I do have to ask you, because of course this earthquake brings reminders of earthquakes past, including the one in the 90s, the Northridge earthquake, which I remember vividly. I remember that time the freeway, it buckled. Has anything been done in particular to freeways to improve their stability?
Oh, most definitely. And it's interesting you bring up that 1994 Northridge earthquake. That was a real stunner. I felt that too. I mean, I was 4:31 a.m. I sat bolt upright in bed. I thought a truck had run into the house. It was a huge shake. And as you mentioned, we had freeway bridges collapse. And so that's 1994. So go back in your memory here. You can even look at things like, say, where the I-8 bridge goes over I-5 here. Then we had for quite some time, they're installing a lot of steel cables. And the basics are to tie the horizontal roadbed to the vertical supporting upright to make them more one unit, so that the vertical doesn't shape differently from the horizontal, and they shake together as one unit, and thus hold down the damages that occur. So a whole lot of stuff has gone on. Folks may remember too, just driving up Interstate 8, the 805 bridge, that was out for quite some time, where they dug much deeper pits around the vertical supports, filled those with concrete, added a lot of steel cables to tie things together. So in other words, a lot of that has been done. And theoretically, that state is taking care of the problem. But of course, from every time there is an earthquake, then we learn if something wasn't learned, or we need to do something else. But basically, we learn from our mistakes. We go see what went wrong, and then try to make sure that exact same situation does not happen again.
Yeah, always a good reminder. Dr. Pat Abbott, please stay with us here by phone. We do want to check back in with you. Right now, we do want to go to break with much more of the 5.2 earthquake that happened earlier this morning. Stay with us.